Ever wondered why vulnerability management is vital in network administration? Well, let's break it down. Vulnerability management is like the vigilant guard of your network system. It tirelessly identifies and classifies vulnerabilities, those tiny cracks and crevices in your system that could potentially give cyber threats a way in. But it doesn't stop there. Once these vulnerabilities are identified, vulnerability management jumps into action, remediating and mitigating these potential risks. You can think of it as a digital handyman, fixing the issues before they become major problems. This process is an essential part of maintaining network security, keeping the digital fortress of your business operations safe and secure. It's also key in ensuring the continuity of business operations because, let's face it, in today's digital age, a secure network equals a functioning business. Now that we understand the significance of vulnerability management, let's delve into one of its crucial processes, scan configuration. So, what exactly is scan configuration in network administration? Well, let's unravel this intriguing concept together. Scan configuration is an integral part of vulnerability management. It's like the detective of the tech world, always on the lookout for potential security threats lurking in the corners of your network. Scan configuration involves setting up and fine-tuning the parameters of a vulnerability scan. This is done to ensure that the scan aligns perfectly with the unique requirements and characteristics of your network. Think of it as tailoring a suit. You want the scan to fit your network just right, not too loose that it misses out threats, and not too tight that it causes unnecessary disruptions. But don't let the jargon intimidate you. Scan configuration may sound like a complex labyrinth, but when broken down, it's just a step-by-step procedure that we can easily navigate through. Scan configuration may sound complex, but it is actually a step-by-step process that we can easily follow. Ready to dive in? Step 1 in scan configuration is defining the scope. Now, what does this mean? Essentially, you're setting the boundaries of your investigation. You're deciding what systems, networks, or applications you will scan for vulnerabilities. It's like setting the stage for a play, and you're the director deciding which actors will take part. Why is this important? Well, imagine trying to find a needle in a haystack. Now imagine that haystack is the size of a city. Without defining the scope, trying to find vulnerabilities in your network can feel just as overwhelming. But it's not just about deciding what to scan. It's also about determining the depth of the scan. Do you need to perform a surface-level scan or a deep dive? This decision will likely depend on your network's complexity and the specific vulnerabilities you're looking for. In essence, defining the scope is like drawing a map for your vulnerability search. It sets the parameters and guides the process. Defining the scope sets the stage for the rest of the scan configuration process. The second step is selecting the type of scan. In the realm of network administration, there are several types of scans at your disposal. Each scan type serves a particular purpose and is designed to detect different kinds of vulnerabilities. Let's delve into some of the common scan types. First, we have the host discovery scan. This is like knocking on the door of every house in a neighborhood to see who's home. It's used to identify active devices on your network. Then, there's the port scan. This scan is more like checking if the doors and windows of those houses are locked. It's utilized to identify open ports that could potentially be exploited. Next up is the vulnerability scan. This scan goes a step further and tries to identify any potential weaknesses in your system, like a locksmith checking for faulty locks. Finally, we have the compliance scan. Think of it as a building inspector making sure everything is up to code. It checks if your network is following the best practices and regulations. Selecting the right scan type is critical to ensuring the effectiveness of the vulnerability management process. The third and final step is configuring the scan settings. This step is crucial because, much like a finely tuned instrument, a well-configured scan can produce more accurate and precise results. There are various settings that you can tinker with in a vulnerability scan. These include, but are not limited to, the scan mode, network range, scan speed, and the level of detail in the report. Each of these settings plays a role in how the scan performs, and adjusting them can optimize both the performance and the accuracy of your scan. For instance, the scan mode can be set to aggressive or polite, depending on whether you want the scan to be thorough but potentially disruptive, or less comprehensive but also less intrusive. The network range setting allows you to define the scope of your scan, while the scan speed can be adjusted to balance the scan's thoroughness against its impact on network performance. Another critical aspect of scan configuration is setting the correct credentials. This will ensure that the scan has the necessary permissions to access and scan the systems it needs to. Equally important is the scan schedule. This can be set to run the scan at times when it will have the least impact on network performance, such as outside of peak usage hours. Finally, the scan policy defines what types of vulnerabilities the scan should look for and how it should handle any that it finds. With the scan settings configured, the vulnerability scan is now ready to run. So, there you have it, the process of scan configuration in vulnerability management. We've journeyed through the crucial steps involved, and hopefully, you've gleaned some useful insights along the way. Let's take a quick trip down memory lane. We started by discussing the importance of vulnerability management. In our interconnected world, ensuring the security of our networks is paramount. Vulnerability management, as we've learned, plays a significant role in maintaining the integrity of these networks. Next, we delved into the process of scan configuration. It's not just about running a scan. It's about configuring it in a way that's tailored to your specific network, ensuring that it's efficient, comprehensive, and effective. Then we defined the scope. This step is all about understanding what's at stake, what needs to be protected, and what threats are out there. We moved on to selecting the scan type. Not all scans are created equal, and it's important to choose the one that best suits your network's needs and vulnerabilities. Finally, we configured the scan settings themselves. This is where the rubber meets the road. The settings you choose can make a significant difference in the effectiveness of your vulnerability management process. Remember, a well-configured scan is a crucial tool in maintaining the security of your network. Until next time, keep your network safe and secure.